Hare Krishna. Welcome to all of the devotees, friends, family, guests, and well-wishers who are joining us today for the memorial service for Radha Giridhari Prabhu. And as we know, we've been hopeful that Radha Giridhari Prabhu would actually come out of the illness and be with us. But we have to surrender to Krishna's plan. Radha Giridhari Prabhu had to be with Krishna and he was taken from us. So quite a bittersweet type of for devotees because we were going to miss him so much. He's a good friend to all of us. And at the same time, he's gone back to Krishna. So we do miss, we're going to have such separation from Radha Giridhari Prabhu. But the memorial service, as part of our tradition, the third day after a devotee leaves us, then we commemorate him by his speaking about, glorifying, recalling his memories and giving some anecdotes of our association with Radha Giridhari Prabhu. So the program, we began by playing His Holiness Kadamakana Swami Maharaj's Kirtan, because Radha Giridhari Prabhu used to like Maharaj's Kirtans very much. And we thought it would be a wonderful way to begin this program. So the program will be as follows. We will have devotees speak, and we'd like you to please also speak about Radha Giridhari Prabhu. We're inviting all of you to do that. So you please send your message on the chat that you would like to speak, and then we will monitor that and invite you to speak. All right? So we're hoping that some more senior devotees may join us, but we have His Grace Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu has joined us also, our temple president, and we are going to begin by asking him. I'm just looking, you can help me scroll through this and see if Maharaj is here anywhere. Yeah. Okay. So if Maharaj joins us, then we will ask him to speak at that time. So it's we will ask His Grace Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, our temple president, who conducted the last rites yesterday for Radha Giridhari Prabhu also, to please begin his address. May I ask everybody to please mute your mics, because we are hearing voices come through, and only the speaker should unmute. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnana Yanandana Salakya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swaha Padantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamani Hari Priye Panchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayavacha Patitanam Bhavnebayo Vaishnabayo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He reasons ill who tells that the Vaishnavas die. When thou art living in sound, the Vaishnavas die to live, and living try to spread the holy name around. Radha Giridhari Prabhu was the best of the devotees in our yatra, a life of devotion dedicated to spreading the glories of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. Radha Giridhari Prabhu was the emblem of devotee care when he always took the trouble to visit and encourage devotees when they were ill or in hospital, and conducted hundreds and hundreds of funerals, the last of one's samskaras in one's lifetime. My heart is sad that we could not be there for him when he fell ill and rushed to the hospital, or giving him the care that he deserves. As I lit the torch yesterday and invoked the mantra of Agnidev, I prayed for the blessings of the hundreds of devotees that could not be present to complete the final samskara on Radha Giridhari Prabhu's behalf. In Bhagavad Gita, we learn that if we think of the Lord at the time of death, we go back home to the Lord. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu affirms that if he will force his way in our minds for those who serve in his Sankirtan army. Radha Giridhari Prabhu was a stalwart soldier in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's army, and I'm sure that the Lord personally came and delivered him from this material world. It is a joyous occasion that Prabhu has gone back home to the spiritual world, and sad for us who remain here, as we will deeply miss his association. But by Krishna's mercy, we have to continue steadily in our devotional service in the spirit of glorifying Krishna. We somehow or all have to aspire to become and develop the qualities of Radha Giridhari Prabhu. Even if we achieve a drop of his qualities, our life will be successful. All glories to Radha Giridhari Prabhu. All glories to the spiritual master, Parthasarathy Das Goswami Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Shri Radha Radhanath ki. His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu ki. Nitai
Jai.
Go Premanande.
Hari Hari
Thank you
Bol.
so much, Smriti Prabhu.
Thank you, Vayu Chaitanya Prabhu. Maharaj. So we'd like to invite His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj to address us. For those who have joined us as well wishes and friends, His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj is the head of ISKCON South Africa. He's our GBC. And on the International Governing Body Commission, he is the vice chairperson. So Radha Giridhari Prabhu has been well known to Maharaj for many, many years in this yatra. Maharaj, may we please have you to address us. Thank you.
Thank you. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastichadi Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchkapturubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I want to read a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Just let me bring it out. It's a very nice verse from the 6th canto, spoken by Srila Shukadev Goswami. It's 6th Canto, Chapter 2, a Jamil delivered by the Vishnu Dutas, text 49. I'm just going to assume that whoever's online is familiar with the story in general of a Jamil and what happened with him. So the verse says, Shukadev Goswami says, while suffering at the time of death, a Jamil chanted the holy name of the Lord. And although the chanting was directed toward his son, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? I feel this is very applicable to His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu, because as is just very well known, I think, to everybody who knew him and who's online right now, Radha Giridhari Prabhu was very, very dedicated to chanting the holy names. In general, he was very dedicated to Krishna consciousness, but his sort of specialty, so to speak, was the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. I was present in many kirtans of his. I couldn't say how many, but plenty. He also accompanied me by his playing of harmonium many times when I sang in his presence. Again, I just have no idea how many times, but many times. So, as Sukadev Goswami says in that verse we just read, that if someone very nicely, inoffensively, with concentration, chants the holy names of the Lord, then how can there be any doubt they'll go back to Godhead? there cannot be any doubt. On one hand, I say these things and it's 100% heartfelt, and it's all very, very true. On the other hand, I remember many years ago, 1977, when Srila Prabhupada left this world. Not that I want to elevate Radha Giridhari Prabhu to the level of Prabhupada, because that just wouldn't be nice. Radha Giridhari Prabhu would not appreciate it. It's just not suitable. But I do remember, and I feel it's relevant. It's definitely relevant to me here, is that after Prabhupada left, like really shortly, within days, and it went on and it's still going on till now, so many devotees would say that why didn't we ask Prabhupada this question? Or why didn't we discuss that with Prabhupada? Why didn't we value his association more, in essence, you could say? So I'm feeling that way about Radha Giridhari Prabhu, that although I valued his association, I really appreciated his association, but I really feel that I didn't appreciate it as much as I could have or should have even. And in doing that or not doing that, I missed out. I feel I missed out, at least to some degree, on some considerable spiritual benefit I could have got if I'd really made more of an effort to get his association more regularly and to be with him more, like inviting him for programs, because before this lockdown, whenever I was in the country, it's almost every night of the week we go out to do programs. Yes. And then, of course, there are festivals here in the temple and all sorts of events. I wish I'd really thought to invite him and make a point of having him here and on those other programs and being with him and sharing with him like that. I wish I had. So, but what to do? What to do? Well, I'll tell you one thing what to do is in regard to other devotees. There's so many nice devotees. Just all over. I've traveled extremely widely. There's so many nice devotees. And just here in Durban, here in South Africa, but just particularly here in Durban, there are really so many wonderful devotees. And just as we felt after the passing of Prabhupada that, now we must value more the devotees who we're surrounded by. And we tried, and we do try, but still I really feel very strongly that we must take this as a lesson, another lesson from Lord Krishna, to value the devotees who we are surrounded by and not just take them for granted as is the conditioned tendency. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Well, that's what actually I'm trying to do already, frankly. But I'd appeal to all of you who are present here. Please consider this point. It's really important because we don't want to be left at the end after whoever it may be has passed away thinking, why didn't I? Let's really try and make the most of it, of the devotees whose association we have. And remember and bear in mind the wonderful example of Radha Giridhari Prabhu. What an excellent example of a devotee. So those are my thoughts at this stage. Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Radha Giridhari Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna. You're muted.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. We certainly, that advice about taking the association of devotees more is something we all have to do. And it has become more and more apparent that this is necessary in these times. So thank you. It's also my pleasure to my privilege to call His Grace Nishingananda Prabhu, who will speak to us, address us, Radha Giridhari Prabhu. Nishingananda Prabhu is based in Johannesburg, and he has had several services in ISKCON, from being our past temple presidents there in Hillbrow, Midrand, as well as being in the executive of Bhaktivedanta College of Education and Culture. Nishingananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So we wrote a tribute which I like to read. Vanchakalpatarabhascha kripasindubheva patitanam pavanabhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, please accept Mahabal obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimati Radhavani glorifies Govardhan Hill as Haridasa Varya, or the best among devotees, for his ability to serve Krishna and the devotees with so many necessities of life. This illustrates the lesson for us that to earn the mercy of Srimati Radhavani effectively, one has to become the servant of the servants of Krishna. His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu learned this very conclusively and demonstrated this in his life. Whenever he saw an opportunity to serve a devotee, he wholeheartedly embraced this, sometimes expressing a compassionate understanding to draw an individual from a dark place and encourage the person through genuine friendship. Furthermore, he selflessly extended himself when opportunity arose to help heal those that were grief-stricken by immersing them in his most cherished devotional chants. Indeed, he taught us that no position or status quo compares to genuine compassion for another. As Srila Prabhupada taught, that a devotee is para dukkha dukhi, or happy to see others happy, and sad to witness the sadness in others. Indeed, he graduated out of the school of life within this material world with humility in service to the Vaishnavas and others, in sincerity, in devotion. In remembering dear Radha Giridhari Prabhu, we are reminded of the words of Srila Rupa Goswami, who recited, of the words Srila Rupa Goswami recited by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya or a Sudra, nor am I a Brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprastha or a sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 1380. Indeed, humble souls like Radha Giridhari Prabhu make life's purpose clear for us who are left behind. There is mention in the Krishna book that the great souls cross over the ocean of nations, but leave behind a boat for others to use in crossing. That boat is a vacancy in service they did for us to continue their legacy. In this way, their spirit lives on. The word death carries such finality with it. So we like to think of it as a crossing over to an eternal realm of continued service to Sri Sri Radharanath. We pray that this unites us in future and help and heals us at present as we come to terms with the separation of such a beloved Vaishnava. With love and gratitude, we remain your servants, Nishingananda Das and Madri Dasi. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. It seems like Smita Krishna Prabhu has left the meeting due to internet connection issues. We'd like to please call Krishnangi Mataji to read out a message from the Devotee Care Durban South team. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I would first like to read a message from Mother Yamunangi, and thereafter I'll read the devotee care message. Is that okay? This is Mother Yamunangi's message. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Parthasarathi Das Goswami iti namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine. Panchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva patitatum pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I wish to offer my Dandavat pranams to my Gurudev, His Holiness Parthasarathi Das Goswami Maharaj, and all the Vaishnavas. I first met Radha Giridhari Prabhu some 15 years ago. I found him to be a very eager devotee, eager to render service. In the early days of our association, he performed many programs for members of my family, and that's how we grew to know each other. I was truly very attracted to his kirtans and his humility. In the past few years, we teamed up other devotees to form Devotee Care Durban South. Sorry, just a second, my phone is ringing. I was truly very attracted to his kirtans and his humility. In the past few years, we teamed up with other devotees to form Devotee Care Durban South. For me, this was life-changing. He was the real head of Devotee Care, a selfless servant of his Guru Maharaj. His Grace Sat Goswami considers himself a fool, as do I, and Radha Giridhari Prabhu took fools like us under his wings. He mentored us and helped us to grow spiritually. The three of us were spending more time with each other than we did with our own families. We formed a bond that was so strong, and together with many other wonderful devotees, we rendered service to a plethora of people from all walks of life, no matter the culture, religion, race, or creed. We served devotees, non-devotees, rich, poor, the sick, the healthy, the bereaved, and those in their last stages of life. We would be out at least 5 times a week. He was so pure and full of energy. In the past 5 years, I recognized the true person Radha Giridhari Prabhu was, an absolutely advanced devotee who was humility personified. He took no credit for anything he did, always encouraged and gave others an opportunity to render service to the Lord. As a brother, he always protected me. He made sure I got home safely after late nights of rendering service. He always scolded me as his sister. He would never complain or wish to cause anyone anxiety or stress. Even on the day before his passing, he told his sister to tell me that he was okay. At his last birthday celebration, his opening statement was, "Birthdays are a reminder for us that the days are getting closer to us leaving." This statement brings to my mind Guru Maharaj's message, where Maharaj mentions, what is the difference if it is 2 days before or 2 days after? There is no difference. And in the life of Radha Giridhari Prabhu, there really was no difference. The day he surrendered to his Guru Maharaj was the day he became totally fearless of death. He had such impeccable faith in his Guru and in the holy names that he could leave his body at any instant and still be guaranteed success. Radha Giridhari Prabhu lost the battle to COVID. But in the way he lived his life and knowing his destination, he won the war. The entire team will miss Prabhu's wonderful association. We will miss his sweet nectarian kirtan. We will pray for his blessings and that he will continue to guide and support us in our endeavors to become spiritually surcharged. On a personal note, I will dearly miss my dearest brother. Hare Krishna. From your servant eternally, Yamunangi Dasi. Hare Krishna. I also wish to read a message from the Devotee Care Durban South team. Hare Krishna. Please accept my Dandavat Pranams. The Devotee Care Durban South team is most privileged to serve the devotee community in times of need. His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu was the heart of our team, along with Mother Yamunangi and Sat Goswami Prabhu. These three epitomes of love and humility have been the force that moves the team. Radha Giridhari Prabhu, being called to serve the Lord in the spiritual world, has left a void in our world, and it is now our time of need. The overwhelming support and love expressed by everyone in the community is helping us to bear this tremendous loss. We thank you most humbly for your care. At this point, I wish to quote a verse from chapter 18, verse 42 of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Shamo damastapaha socham kshantirajya jamevacha jnanam vijnanam astikyam rama karma swabhajavaham. Restraint of mind and sense organs, penance, purity, forgiveness, and also knowledge, wisdom, and faith. These are the natural duties of a Brahmana. We have seen by how he lived his life that His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu was such a Brahmana. Also, in the purport of the 5th canto, chapter 18, verse 12, Srila Prabhupada listed the 26 qualities of a devotee in the following manner. Quote, Sri Krishna Das Kaviraj, the author of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, says that all good qualities become manifest in the body of a Vaishnava, and that only by the presence of these good qualities can one distinguish a Vaishnava from a non-Vaishnava. He goes on to list these qualities of a Vaishnava, and I would like to quickly run through them. He is very kind to everyone. He does not make anyone his enemy. He is truthful. He is equal to everyone. No one can find any fault in him. He is magnanimous. He is mild. He is always clean. He is without possessions. He works for everyone's benefit. He is very peaceful. He is always surrendered to Krishna. He has no material desires. He is very meek. He is steady. He controls his senses. He does not eat more than required. He's not influenced by the Lord's illusory energy. He offers respect to everyone. He does not desire any respect for himself. He's very grave. He's merciful. He's friendly. He's poetic. He's expert. And he is silent. For all of us who have known Radha Giridhari Prabhu, he was the perfect embodiment of these qualities. On a personal note, by the mercy of the Lord, I was engaged in serving on the devotee care team. I was immediately moved by the humility and love the devotees in our team have for our community. The kirtans were so comforting and of such a high standard. They were soul-stirring. I had asked Radha Giridhari Prabhu to consider recording a CD for devotee care so many times, but he was always too humble, and he would evasively say, maybe one day. Eventually, I asked Mother Yamunangi if I could at least start a Facebook page for devotee care so that these kirtans could reach more devotees. And that is how the devotee care Facebook page was started, because of Radha Giridhari Prabhu's intense humility. In fact, it was always such a challenge to even take a photograph of him. He just wanted to serve the devotees. No frills, no name and fame, just love. But he tolerated us in trying to take photographs and videos so that we could share them with you. Radha Giridhari Prabhu had such a witty and unassuming character, yet he was a wealth of spiritual knowledge. And every time the team met, he would throw in some pearls of wisdom, and it was always in that unassuming, witty, humble manner. And it was so typically Giri. We, the devotee care team, are going to struggle to recover from this great loss. We thank you for your understanding and tolerance. We also wish to thank a few devotees. His Grace Dr. Umakanta Prabhu for everything you've done for Radha Giridhari Prabhu. His Grace Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, we humbly thank you for your support and for taking such a risk, even with your challenged mobility, and in coming out to perform the final rites at the crematorium. We thank the family of Radha Giridhari Prabhu for allowing us to facilitate his send-off according to ISKCON practices. We also thank you for understanding that he was our family too. Every devotee who has interacted with him automatically felt kinship with him. He belonged to us all, and we all mourn this loss. Thank you also to Rupa Vilas Prabhu and his team. Your relationship with Radha Giridhari Prabhu goes back a long time. We would also like to thank the SAPS for the police escort that helped us conduct the funeral procession smoothly. To the Kirtanias, we appreciate your service expertly rendered. To the temple authorities, we thank you for always accommodating us over the past week. There are so many people to thank, and I'm most certain that I have omitted to mention many more. Please know that you are appreciated. I want to reiterate something that Nrsingananda Prabhu had read out earlier. Madhuri Mataji had sent this to a friend of mine who forwarded it to me. And this is something that we are going to hold on to moving forward with devotee care. And I'm going to quote once more. When these nice souls depart, they leave behind the boat that they used to cross the material ocean for us to make it through too. They also leave a vacancy in the service they did for us to continue their legacy. In this way, their spirit lives on. We are going to be taking comfort in praying for Radha Giridhari Prabhu to guide us in our devotee care efforts from beyond. Your servants, the Devotee Care Durban South team. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, we dropped the signal there and had problems trying to get back in. So we'd like to ask His Grace Rupa Vilas Prabhu to read a message from Rupa Sanatan Prabhu. Rupa Sanatan Prabhu and Radha Giridhari Prabhu were very close together in the Unit 11 Namahata. For many, many years, Radha Giridhari Prabhu lent support in that Namahata and they became close friends. So Rupa Sanatan Prabhu is not in Durban anymore. So he sent his message to Rupa Vilas Prabhu. Rupa Vilas Prabhu is our Namahata leader in at Nordin, and he also had a very close relationship with Radha Giridhari Prabhu. So may I kindly ask Rupa Vilas Prabhu to please read?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to read the notice sent to me by Rupa Sanatan Prabhu. Hare Bol, as I remember His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu, he started coming to Unit 9 and Unit 11 Chatswat Namahata with Surya Narayan and his family in 1993. I used to have Namahata at my house just before combining the Unit 9 and Unit 11 Namahatas. He had met many devotees before and was already practicing Krishna consciousness to some extent. Later on, he studied Srila Prabhupada's literature through the Bhaktivedanta College of Education and Culture. Thereafter began his teaching this philosophy in and around Durban area. Later, our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Parthasarthi Goswami Maharaj, noticed his humility, potential and enthusiasm, and advised him to preach extensively. An instruction he took to heart and fulfilled up until he left his material body. Radha Giridhari Prabhu engaged in several services, house programs, Namahata programs, temple programs, and festivals, and many, many more. Later on, he joined the Devotee Care Unit group, which surrendered himself to taking care of many devotees. I am sure that Krishna will take good care of Radha Giridhari Prabhu on his onward journey. From your God brother Rupa Sanatan Das. Hare Krishna.
Rupa Vilas Prabhu, while you're on the microphone, would you like to add something about his influence in your Namahata?
Yes, Radha Giridhari Prabhu was very instrumental with regards to supporting Nodi Namahata, and also myself and my family. He used to periodically take my son and my brother Sudama and go to house programs, and thus began their spiritual journey. And all of these young boys in Krishna consciousness, they grew so much with Radha Giridhari. He taught them music, and he was so instrumental in the spiritual life that even I couldn't teach my kids. Sorry.
That's okay, Prabhu.
I owe so much to Radha Giridhari Prabhu. I miss him a lot. And I don't know what to do with regards to now, to the future of my children and their spiritual journey. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.
Radha Giridhari Prabhu, thanks for your message. And we understand how much you're missing. Radha Giridhari is a good friend to all of us. You had a very close relationship with him. I know your boys would go with him. That's why the other day I called your kids to see how they are feeling with Radha Giridhari Prabhu's loss. But be assured that he's taught them well, because your boys are good kirtanias. They are playing instruments well, they're singing well, and they're going to carry that legacy. They're going to continue to do that. And we hope to see more and more of them in kirtan, more and more participation in kirtan, as and when we get together. Thank you, Radha Giridhari Prabhu. I would like to also ask devotees, are there other devotees who would like to say anything on this platform? Please just indicate to us. Please indicate to us that you would like to speak, and then we'd add you on into the program. It's kind of open. Anybody is allowed to say anything and speak in the programs. I'm just trying to figure, I lost the signal for a while, so I'm not sure whether Mother Yamunangi had come on to speak. If she has not come on, then she can please join in now. And the message from Devotee Care as well. So I think
Hare Krishna, Smita Krishna Prabhu.
you finished that?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes.
It's Krishnangi here. Mother Yamunangi's message, as well as the Devotee Care message, has already been presented.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. Then I missed that.
Thank you.
In that period. Well, it's just nice that the program went on. In the meantime, I'd like to ask Smarahari Prabhu to please speak. Smarahari Prabhu, he is also involved in Devotee Care and the South African National Council, and involved in many other services, which he goes to ILS to conduct. So, Smarahari Prabhu, please address us.
Hare Krishna. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Parthasarati Das Goswami Maharaj Tinamini Dasa Goswami Namavane Namavajana Shamshayam Yamyadesi Gurudesi Stapkam Srita Vatsalam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Sanyavari Pastitade Satarani. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu. So, I haven't prepared anything, but I'm going to speak straight from the heart. This is indeed a loss to the entire Vaishnava community, both in South Africa and the world, particularly, for devotee care. Radha Giridhari Prabhu was actually devotee care personified, and from the messages that we've been hearing, that's been pouring in since his passing, we all will miss him. We all valued him. We all know the type of personality, and we all appreciated his real devotee care attributes that come out in every aspect of devotee care. So there's so much more to say. There's so much we can say. So much has been said. One of the things that stand out for me was his fixation in the philosophy. And I know him for about possibly just over 15 years. And particularly in the last 10 years or so, he was always motivated, inspired us. We always talked about devotee care. We always talked about devotee welfare. And back then there was no structures for devotee care. And it kind of inspired me to push on and get devotee care going. And I was so excited when he was part of the Devotee Care South team, and I think we all know the role he has played there. He's been a key figure, and as I was saying just now, one of the things that really impressed me, well, there's so many things to say, but one of the things is his fixation in the philosophy. When I say that, I mean, every time you engage in a conversation with him, he always dovetailed everything back into the philosophy, back into Krishna consciousness, where he'd spin the conversation very quickly into philosophy. He would quote Srila Prabhupada, he would quote Bhagavad Gita, he would quote Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was always teaching. So, a teacher, a mentor, a coach, a friend, we're going to miss him. He's a great loss to us, and it's a really sad day for ISKCON South Africa and ISKCON greater global community. So, to get another devotee like this we're actually not going to be able to fill his shoes within devotee care. He has served beside Yamanangi Mataji and the team so there's no words to describe it actually. So, yeah, that's as much as I can say right now. It's just really sad and very depressing that we don't have him amongst us, and we're really going to miss him. So thank you, Smita Krishna Babu. Thank you for facilitating this, and thank you for the Devotee Care South team for the sterling, amazing services that you have been doing for the community. I read it regularly in the Facebook pages, and I'm regularly in touch with the devotees, and I'm just amazed and very, very inspired as to what is going on in Durban South. So thank you to the entire team. His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu Ki Jai. Thank you.
Thank you, Smarari Prabhu. One of our other long-standing devotees is Rasaraj Prabhu. Rasaraj Prabhu, a disciple of His Holiness Giridhari Swami Maharaj, will also speak. Rasaraj Prabhu is known for his sterling service in the deity department at our temple. So could you please call Rasaraj?
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So Radha Giridhari Prabhu was indeed an enthusiastic, compassionate, talented, and knowledgeable Vaishnava devotee. Enthusiastic in the sense he was always ready to accept any invitation to preach and conduct a Krishna conscious program. Compassionate as a main member of the devotee care group, absolutely loving and kind to care for devotees that were ill and encourage them, and also conducting the final rites. He was talented, a sweet kirtan leader and a player of instruments, example the harmonium and mridanga, and even went to the extent of giving lessons to the devotees to play these instruments. Knowledgeable, he was well versed in Shastra, like the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and others. He was also a teacher in the Bhaktivedanta College of Education and Culture. We are really sad and sorry to lose a Vaishnava of such a caliber. We will always be indebted to him for his selfless service and dedication to all the Vaishnavas that he took care of, and to Srila Prabhupada ISKCON as a whole. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Rasaraj Prabhu. For that, it's important that devotees know the extent to which Radha Giridhari Prabhu was involved. And as in between, as I keep the continuity going, then I will also mention some things. Yes, Radha Giridhari Prabhu was very soft-hearted and not a devotee that would offend anyone. I think, may I just ask the devotee to please mute your mic, whoever is it? That's voice is coming over. So he's not one who would offend devotees, or he would not speak ill about devotees at all. In fact, he'd only appreciate devotees. But at the same time, when it came to the matter of philosophical principles, practice, he was strict and he could say it directly to you. And we'd accept it, because that's the purity is the force. And you knew Radha Giridhari Prabhu has no agendas or anything. He was just so dedicated to Srila Prabhupada's movement. So if he said something, you'd accept it. And those in his Bhakti Shastri class, they know Radha Giridhari Prabhu, he wanted things done and he needed you to do it. Comes to assignments and due dates, and because he did tell me we should talk about the Bhakti Shastri class. And he was very sensitive also to this, as I said, about whether it offended anybody. Once when he was going out to do some programs, somebody had invited him in Amkumas to do a house program. And it was the lockdown and I was chatting with him, but I was concerned. So I asked him, I said, Radha Giridhari Prabhu, this kind of program, is it even allowed in the lockdown? And he was very enthusiastic about his kirtan. So I think he's a little bit impatient with me. I can ask something like that. So he said, well, I'm not sure about that. You can ask the host. So then I said, Radha Giridhari Prabhu, I'm just concerned about you because of this virus. Then he immediately responded, he said, oh no, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. I know you mean well. So immediately, he didn't offend me, but he just thought that he did. And then immediately responded like that. So he is very, very sensitive, very, very careful, devotees. And he did his service very proficiently and quietly. He didn't want name and fame and all of that. But he is recognized by the devotees and is recognized by his Guru Maharaj. So we'd like to play a kirtan now, Radha Giridhari Prabhu's kirtan. And then if the other devotees want to say anything, then please just indicate on the chat. And then we will put you up in the line. All right? Prikeshwari, kirtan. Hare Krishna. That was Radha Giridhari Prabhu singing at the BYS program at the temple that was organized by Rukmini Mataji. And she sent a wonderful clip. Satyarani Mataji sent a wonderful clip of Radha Giridhari Prabhu doing that kirtan. I'm very happy that they actually recorded that, so we have something for posterity. I'd also like to call a good friend, a close associate of Radha Giridhari Prabhu, and that is Yugen Prabhu. Yugen Prabhu is very much involved with the Food for Life mission, and he has some glorification and anecdote to share with us. Yugen Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhescha, Kripasindhabhaivacha, Patitanam Pavanabhayo, Vaishnavabhayo, Namo Namaha. So it's a great emotion and great sadness that I speak today, but it's essential and important that we glorify devotees like Radha Giridhari Prabhu. I share the sentiments of everybody else that have spoken, and I just want to say that in my small way, about Radha Giridhari Prabhu was his selfless nature. I wrote on a chat earlier this week that he epitomized selflessness. It's very difficult for us to find people like, or devotees like Radha Giridhari Prabhu. And it pained me when Rupa Vilas spoke earlier, because obviously he couldn't complete everything that he would like to say about Radha Giridhari Prabhu. And in a sense, Radha Giridhari Prabhu was a huge, huge devotee in ISKCON, Durban. Smarhari mentioned that his shoes are too huge to fill. And I want to say to everybody that in order for us to continue Radha Giridhari Prabhu's legacy, we need to start to want to fill his shoes and serve just like how he did. My extended family know Radha Giridhari Prabhu because of his selflessness. Whenever I picked up the phone to Rupa Vilas and his family and asked for assistance with regards to memorial programs or funeral programs or house programs, he would always say, we'll make a plan. We'll just speak to Radha Giridhari Prabhu. And in this time, it's so difficult for all of us because who do we turn to? Who do we turn to when we need assistance in house programs, discourses, kirtans, etc.? And I had this conversation with Sad Goswami Prabhu regarding saying, I think it's up to us all in our small way, if it takes 10 or 20 of us to fill one devotee's legacy, then I think we should do this and try to emulate and try and assist ISKCON movement's progression by serving Radha Giridhari Prabhu's legacy. So in my small way, I'm so thankful, and my extended family is so thankful to Radha Giridhari Prabhu for everything he's done for us. Since I've met him, he's been so instrumental in my Krishna consciousness and in our family's Krishna consciousness. So all thanks and all glories to Radha Giridhari Prabhu. And I'm so glad to have been part of his life and some of his programs. And we're really going to miss him dearly. So I thank you, Smita Krishna Prabhu, for allowing me to speak. It is a very emotional time for all of us, but he is selflessness personified. So all glories to His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu. His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much again, Prabhu. It's wonderful that devotees want to speak, and anybody who wishes to say anything, please come forward. You can just, even there's a little icon at the bottom of your Zoom about in the chat about raising your hand and so on. So we'll know that you want to speak. And this, I was thinking while Yugen Prabhu was speaking that in the Christian tradition they have a word called martyrdom, and that has become applied in many political circles now when somebody sacrifices. But the real martyrdom was those that sacrifice themselves for the service of the Supreme Lord. And we can see that same concept applies to Radha Giridhari Prabhu, because he actually knew the danger of being involved and going on to programs, attending to the sick and so on in this period. But that didn't stop him from doing so. So he literally sacrificed himself because he exposed himself to the risk. And yet he still did his service, as Yugen Prabhu says, selflessly. So we're very, very grateful to Radha Giridhari Prabhu to do that. And as I agree that it's very hard to fill that shoes. Who's going to do that now? Now we'd like to ask the family members. I'm not sure who are the family members and if they are on here. If any of the family members are present, would you please also contribute something to today's memorial? Just give us, you can just unmute yourself and come on. We don't have to give us notice of it.
Hi, Prabhu.
So, Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Okay, I'm his niece, and I'd like to say something on behalf of the family.
Is that Tamini? Oh, who am I speaking with? Who is it?
It's Chantel.
Chantel, please speak. Thank you.
Okay, with a heavy heart and sadness, it gives me the privilege to speak on behalf of Radha Giridhari. There's a lot of good things that a lot of people had said, and I can't even imagine to tell you the bad because I can't remember anything bad. He was pure as he was, simple but to the point, and his love for Krishna conscious was beyond anything. He taught us a lot, even though he was Krishna conscious. He taught us a lot. We never knew the volumes and extent that of Krishna conscious, but today we can see it all. And there was never a week where I never see him or never spoke to him. It was always that he made time to be part of our family, where even if he just came to sit and talk to us and not partake in whatever we were doing because he was Krishna conscious and we were not. But his presence was always there, just to make sure that we was happy to see him around us. We all are going to miss him. We're going to miss having that conversations. And that jovial laugh that he gave us. He gave us all a lot of teaching and understanding of what he really was and what he really did. And we take comfort in knowing that he is with Krishna today. He is serving the Lord. and he is in a better place, a place of joy where he wants to be, where he's serving the Lord. And there is one verse that I'd like to read out from Srila Prabhupada, which says, "One who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity." So with that, we know that he never feared death, and he is on his journey doing what he loves best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chantal. That was your really heartfelt message, and we feel the way you do about missing Radha Giridhari. And as a family member, you quite correctly say that it's very difficult to understand how deep the devotion of the devotee is. And that happens because we're too close to the devotee. It's often said that when you're right next to a mountain, a majestic mountain, you really can't see its height. And as you step further and further away from it, then you see how it dominates the skyline. So in the same way, as time goes, you'll understand more and more the depth and value of Radha Giridhari Prabhu to all of us. But he's left a legacy behind, and he would be very, very joyful to know that even if you could come through and take up some of the teachings that he's been doing. So understand, take a leaf out of his book. So that would be a wonderful gesture. And that verse you read from Srila Prabhupada, that was so wonderful, very, very appropriate, that even in the midst of the greatest calamities, devotee does not fear. And you very quite rightly conclude that because of that, it looks externally like a calamity, but everything is in Krishna's hands. So Radha Giridhari Prabhu is well taken care of, even in the midst of a so-called calamity. Vidyapati Prabhu, who's associated with the leadership and the committee of the Unit 6 Namahata, with Alanat Prabhu and others, he would like to speak. So may I invite Vidyapati Prabhu and then ask Subhananda Prabhu to be in readiness after that.
Thank you, Smita Krishna Prabhu. Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitana Pavnabhyo, Vaishnavabhyo, Namo Namaha. So, I'll have to talk on different aspects of Radha Giridhari's influence. Firstly, in terms of our Namahata, Radha Giridhari Prabhu always had a positive influence in terms of doing house programs at any time. Sometimes when our Namahata were busy, engaged in cooking the love feast, you'll find that Sats Goswami Prabhu and Bilvamangal Prabhu is missing, only to find out that they are gone on a program. There were times when it was to see Radha Giridhari Prabhu, he had already done 3, 4, 5 programs already for the day, and you could see he was worn out. But he never ever relented on doing a house program. We were students under him for the last 7 years, and doing the Bhakti Shastri under him. The course was started by Radha Vallabh Prabhu and then handed over to Radha Giridhari Prabhu. Now, I have to say, in terms of punctuality, Radha Giridhari Prabhu was always 5 minutes before the class, before the pupils could arrive. And his argument was that Krishna is time and we cannot waste time. So although Radha Giridhari Prabhu wasn't an educator, he used me to try and help him to bring up pupils that were lagging behind in class. And there was one pupil that used to struggle, and he'd always get me to assist us because of his compassion for that person. He didn't want to see her lagging behind the class. So that compassionate side of his always came through. And on a personal note, I used to get a lot of scolding from Radha Giridhari Prabhu because I was diabetic just like him. But I have to say, he was an impeccable diabetic because the manner in which he looked after his diabetes really astounded me. And whenever I took that halava or that sweet dessert, he always used to give me that look. And I knew that I was transgressing, that I was going to be in trouble. Also, when it came to my dress code, Radha Giridhari Prabhu was very, very critical of my dress code. Being an educator, I love wearing a tracksuit. And there were times when I used to wear the tracksuit and come to the temple. And he said, Prabhu, please, you may think you're coming to see Krishna, but Krishna would not recognize you if you do not have Vaishnava attire. And that is when I started to correct myself and try to dress more appropriately whenever I came to the temple. It's with a very, very heavy heart that yesterday we had to go through all the rituals, and eventually when we went to Blue Lagoon and we had to submerge the ashes into the Blue Lagoon, I had one very, very important realization that on the material level, this is what we are reduced to. So why is it that we all have to try to be, controllers? Why do we always have to be in charge, puffed up, fight, be angry? Even on the material level, we are actually nothing. And we should take this leaf out of Radha Giridhari's book and try and empower people. Like one Prabhu said, his boots are very, very big to fill, but at least his instruction we should try and follow. Whenever he did a program, he'll suddenly pounce on me, Giridhari Prabhu, I think you should do the class today. Out of the blue. But he gave us this opportunity of being empowered to want to do something to please Krishna. And for me, Radha Giridhari Prabhu was a standout devotee. Wherever he played, I always kept cartels in my car in the hope that at least I'll get to follow the kirtan and to be part of it. Yes, I should get the occasional glare when I used to play offbeat, or I should play, my playing wasn't in tune when he's singing. Just gave me that look, and I knew I had to slow down and I had to back off. But Radha Giridhari Prabhu, in my heart, he's left an indelible imprint in my heart, and it's up to me and to try and imbibe some of his qualities and follow his instructions. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Vidyapati Prabhu. Prabhu, you always have this wonderful way of making a serious point with a little bit of humor. And that's indeed, we can appreciate that also. It is a sad occasion, but at the same time, we are also here to bid farewell in a joyful way to Radha Giridhari. So we remember all the sweet memories and all the humor and everything. Thank you so much, Vidyapati Prabhu. I'd like to ask Subhananda Prabhu to speak. Subhananda Prabhu, for those of us who do not know, he might be also in the background as a humble devotee, but he is involved in the international front with service on the strategic planning committee of the GBC and several other official capacities here in South Africa as well. So Subhananda Prabhu, please speak.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, all devotees. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Parthasarthi Das Goswami Tinamine.
Das Goswami Nam Vande Nama Bhajana Samshaya Yamya Jesha Gurudesa Stapikam Sitsavatsalam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vishjagane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastachade Satare. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, so all glories to His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu, a most wonderful, humble, generous, compassionate, kind-hearted devotee and God brother. I was once had some hesitation in presenting in front of our senior leaders, and a Srila Prabhupada disciple offered me some guidance and mentioned to me that humility means to be the instrument. So many times I would speak with Radha Giridhari Prabhu about his preaching and devotee care activities, and for the pleasure of my Guru Maharaj. And I consider him one of my Guru Maharaj's leading disciples and my senior God brother. So despite his struggles in maintaining himself, he tried his best in all the activities for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. He was an ideal disciple and also ideal at showing how to be the instrument and following the Guru's instruction with all his heart. And he understood Srila Prabhupada's mission of everyone home back to Godhead. So I will try to follow his footsteps. It is a really wonderful example. He had the mercy and he was ready to give the mercy. And he's continuing to receive the mercy. Interestingly, probably outside Durban or South Africa, not many knew him. But once he had left this planet, it's amazing to see Krishna's, how he takes care and showers his mercy on his ardent followers. And I saw it firsthand. So I was on a GBC Ogdev call, and there were probably about 30 GBC members on the call on the day Radha Giridhari passed. And at the beginning of the call, His Grace Pradosh Prabhu, one of the GBC members, he actually requested all of the GBC members and all the devotees on the call to actually pray for Radha Giridhari Prabhu. And for me, it was amazing. I mean, no one really knew of Radha Giridhari Prabhu, but on passing, Srila Prabhupada had given this mercy by his senior most followers to pray for him, let alone what to speak of my Guru Maharaj offering so much prayers. So we can all learn so much from the wonderful lessons from Radha Giridhari Prabhu. But one very important lesson and is for the protection of all the devotees, is that this virus is very stealthy and it doesn't discriminate whether you're a senior devotee, guru, sannyasi. And yes, we know there's a Krishna factor to everything. But, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, quoting Chanika Pandit, mentioned that there are three things a devotee should avoid at all costs. And I'm quoting the one of the most applicable right now, is that the devotee must at all costs avoid disease. And as we learned from Bhagavad Gita, and as we're witnessing, devotees are very rare. And when Radha Giridhari Prabhu leaving is a great loss. And there's so much of service for all the devotees to do to push on this movement. So we should actually take extra care and precaution in this unprecedented time and protect ourselves and loved one. There's actually a lot more service to do. So let's follow Radha Giridhari Prabhu in his footsteps and become an instrument, but in a responsible manner. And with that note, I'd like to say, all glories to His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu. All glories, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Guru.
Thank you so much, Subhananda Prabhu. That incident of all the GBCs praying for Radha Giridhari, that is amazing. It's such a great benediction. And somehow the other you became the instrument for that because you were in the meeting. And that's quite a, amazing kind of arrangement. So thank you very much for sharing that and also expressing your concern for the devotees to take good care of themselves. I'd like to read an offering that's on the chat from Sevika Mataji. I just ask others to please turn their mics off because I can hear some noise. Mute yourself. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll through this on the chat. The message comes from Sevika Manjari Mataji, who's from Nordin, and also a disciple of His Holiness Parthasarthi Das Goswami Maharaj. She says, Hare Krishna, farewell, my dear sweet brother. So many sweet memories flood my mind when I think of His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu. Lots of sweet memories laced with unlimited nectar, and of course, we shared tears together too. I had the privilege of studying Bhakti Shastri with him, so we shared sweet, crazy, stress-filled moments while simultaneously swimming in an ocean of pure bliss. Your love for devotees was overwhelming. Thank you for all you did for everybody so selflessly. Your life truly was only about selfless service. When I think of your strongest quality, humility was certainly it. May your onward journey be a sweet and swift one. To my devotee care family, as heartbroken as you are, please remember you were privileged to have the association of a very rare soul. Lord Krishna favored you. Stay blessed, stay strong. His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu Ki Jai. Your servant, Manjari Sevika Mataji. So, thank you for your wonderful message. Indeed, he was a rare soul, and we have all those wonderful memories as you were recalling. Bhaktin Molly Mataji, who is the good wife of Smarahari Prabhu, was quite involved with Prataprudra Prabhu and so on in the Sanya Paintam Namahata. And they also had wonderful association with Radha Giridhari Prabhu. So she'd like to say something on behalf of Sanya Paintam Namahata. Molly Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu. So Prabhu, I'm just going to speak from the heart. On behalf of Sanya Paintan Namahata, I'd just like to thank His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu for always being there to support our Namahata. He would always do such nice kirtan for all our Janmashtami programs and inspiring all the devotees, our kids, and the guests that used to attend our programs. So I'd really like to thank him from the bottom of my heart. Also, I'd like to thank Prabhu on behalf of the Prasad family. Recently, there's been a lot of members of the Prasad family that has passed on, and Prabhu's always been there to support us with kirtan. Well, it's like exactly 2 months ago that I lost my mother-in-law, and Prabhu was there to support us with kirtan, and we're so grateful to him for that. And Prabhu, on a personal note, Prabhu always inspired me with his beautiful singing and his kirtan. That's what drew me to Prabhu. It was his singing. And I would always say to him, Prabhu, when I leave my body, I'd like for you to do my kirtan. And he'd always laugh and say to me, Mataji, it depends what the Lord has in store for me. So Prabhu will definitely be missed. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. And I'm sure the Sanya Pinetown, Namahata, Noddin Namahata, all of these Namahatas will miss him because he was a very central part of their festivals, Janmastami programs and so on. Brother Giridhari Prabhu was always there doing that. I would ask Krishnangi Mataji to please please read a message she has from Surya Narayan Prabhu. Now, Surya Narayan Prabhu and Radha Giridhari Prabhu were very close friends. Surya Narayan Prabhu was a very long-standing devotee also, and very much from my association with him, a Srila Prabhupada man. So, Krishnangi Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna. This is a message from His Grace Surya Narayan Prabhu. His Grace Radha Giridhari, also known as Ricky, would have turned 58 years old on the 9th of September 2020. So for the last 41 years, we have been close as brothers would have been. A friendship that spanned 4 decades of a journey from the darkness to the light, as he would have said in his own words. Since 17 years old, living in our Westcliff neighborhood, we would have experimented with the 60s rock culture and the works. He was a musician from then, and he loved the Rolling Stones, which he eventually dovetailed all of his musical talents towards devotional service. Even though he had met with an accident years before, he continued to render service, playing that harmonium with his injured hand and singing so melodiously. It was around early 90s, after Christmas, that we both decided to surrender ourselves to Krishna consciousness, and then, taking shelter of our spiritual master, His Holiness Parthasarathi Das Goswami Maharaj, Radha Giridhari had firm faith in his Guru's instruction, and he followed it with every ounce of his being. On many occasions, when we did many temple feasts together, he would want to give only his best, even if it meant picking each green chili himself, because he believed that Lord Krishna simply deserved the best in everything. He later steered the devotee care team, and his love for all was so filled with compassion and zest that he could not ever age in my eyes. Energy to serve was endless. He never complained about his health, sleep, time. To me, he was a saint.
Krishnangi Mataji, I think we're losing you there. Not sure if anybody else is experiencing that. If you are experiencing that loss of sound, please just put it in the chat so we know.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, Krishnangi, I think the last part that was clear was about the green chilies. Thereafter,
Okay.
it kept fluctuating.
All right. I'm going to retrace my steps. This is such a beautiful message from Surya Narayan Prabhu. I'm going back to the green chilies. He later steered the devotee care team, and his love for all was so filled with compassion and zest that it could not ever age in my eyes. His energy to serve was endless. He never complained about his health, sleep, or time. He was a person who would give spontaneously and wholeheartedly. There will never be anyone who can fill that space in my heart. My home and family have a void that a jewel amongst men have gone to be with the Lord. To me, he was a saint and the most celibate brahmachari who followed all the rules and restrictions with all his heart and soul. This is a huge loss in my life and in the lives of all that he has touched over the years for many, many people. May his memory and glories live on forever. Your servant Surya Narayan Das. His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishnangi, for reading that. Thanks, Surya Narayan Prabhu. Yes, indeed, you were very, very close. And Radha Giridhari Prabhu was a proficient musician in many instruments. In fact, I'd asked him last year to start teaching me harmonium and so on. And we were planning to get around to it, but it didn't happen. So that's also quite a blow. But indeed, he was very, very proficient. He was studying music, actually, Western music. And when I got to find out about that, I was quite surprised. He could read music and so on. And he was actually studying that to improve his kirtan, improve his presentation of Krishna consciousness. And it was his inclination, so naturally he'd do something like that. There is a devotee and a good friend of Radha Giridhari Prabhu. Also would spend some time living in our temple, and that's Morgan. If Bhakta Morgan is available to please speak. It's now, I'll just give you a reminder, it's now 20 to 5, almost 1:45, and we want to close the program by 5. So we'll ask devotees, any other devotees who wish to speak, to do so now. Is Morgan still with us? Were you? Okay. Then, in that case, may I ask Priya Kishori to please play the message from His Holiness Parthasarathy Das Goswami Maharaj, which is who is the spiritual master of Radha Giridhari Prabhu.
This is a message from Parthasarathy Das Goswami, the spiritual master of His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu. I have just received news that Radha Giridhari Prabhu has left his mortal body, and it is with great sadness but also great joy that I record this message. Joy in the sense that Radha Giridhari Prabhu will now have taken birth within the spiritual world. Of this we have no doubt. He is not this body, we are not this body. And as Prabhupada said, we may live for 2 days more, 2 days before, 2 weeks more, 2 weeks before, or if you like, 2 years more, or 2 years before. Death is inevitable. Time and tide wait for no man or no woman. So we're all going to have to accept this thing called death. But before we leave our bodies, we should try to become God conscious, Krishna conscious, and engage in devotional service to Lord Krishna. So Radha Giridhari has done this. He's very enthusiastically preached spiritual life in and around Durban, would lead many kirtans and give talks, and attend many of our weekly Namahatas that we have in KwaZulu-Natal. I feel very proud to have helped him in spiritual life, and I feel he is a very worthy and respectable grand disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So I'm very happy to know that he's now taken birth in the spiritual world, in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And I'm very privileged to have assisted him in his spiritual journey. This human form of life is simply a journey. The moment we're born, we're dying. When you see a child 3 years old, it means 3 years less to when it dies. This is how one should view life. We're only here temporarily. As Prabhupada said in the Bhagavatam, our lives and relationships with husband and wife and children, brothers and sisters, are like foaming bubbles. You go to the Indian beach and bubbles come when the wave breaks. The Indian Ocean in Durban. Foaming bubbles, they last for 1 second. So our lives are very short, here today and gone tomorrow. So the intelligent man, the intelligent woman will practice spiritual life. Prabhupada also says we're like dead bodies flapping around. This again we see on the beach. Fishermen, they catch the fish flaps around, then dies. So we're just flapping around for a few months, for a few years. Honestly speaking, 70, 80 or 90 years, it goes so quickly. So with great joy, we understand Radha Giridhari's attained the highest destination because he chanted Hare Krishna and engaged in devotional service. Then the other point I said sadness. Sadness because he's a Vaishnava and he's left our association. Of course, he's got better association now than the struggling devotees in Durban and South Africa. He has the association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal associates, as listed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also the associates of Lord Krishna. So it is both, it's joy and sadness. It is bittersweet. But we should reflect on how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reacted when Srila Haridas Thakur left his body. Srila Haridas Thakur started dancing in ecstasy, taking the body of Haridas Thakur on kirtan. So this is how God himself reacted when one of his devotees left this material world. So really it should be more joy that now he's joined in Lord Chaitanya's direct pastimes and he's continuing his practice of spiritual life until he attains Goloka Vrindavan. So this we're very happy. So we offer our respects to His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu, and the way to honor him, the way for his family members and friends and associates to honor him is to do like he did, follow the principles, chant Krishna's holy name, and try to preach God consciousness. I also request that the members of his family keep some ashes from his mortal body, which I will take at some point to Vrindavan and put on the bank of the river Vrindavan, the bank of the river Jamuna, and also the valley of Radhakund and the bank of Govardhan Hill, etc. This is like a type of final rite. Although he's left his body, we can spread his ashes on the holy places, bank of the Ganges, bank of the Jamuna, and this further purifies him wherever he is, and is part of our tradition. Thank you, Radha Giridhari Prabhu, for your service to Srila Prabhupada's personal preaching mission, and thank you to all the Vaishnavas who are attending his function. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you to His Holiness Parthasarathi Das Goswami Maharaj for that wonderful message, penetrating right to the core of our hearts about our purpose and existence. I would like to invite, I'd seen Govardhan Prabhu on the chat on earlier, at least, and I was. Please apologize. We were following a queue, and then I was going to ask you, but I'm glad you came on again. So Govardhan Prabhu is our co-GBC for South Africa and a trustee of ISKCON and numerous other portfolios in South Africa. And we are very happy to hear from him now. May I invite Govardhan Prabhu to please speak?
Hare Krishna, Smriti Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna, my obeisances. I wanted to offer my obeisances to Radha Giridhari Prabhu, fellow grandson of Srila Prabhupada. I have not personally had many interactions with him, but on limited occasions I had the opportunity to listen to his sweet kirtan, saw his smiling face, and Radha Giridhari Prabhu most certainly led a life of devotion. He invested very heavily in the Sankirtan Yagya of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and obviously we'll miss his association very dearly. As Maharaj was just saying, there's hardly a doubt about his onward journey to Krishna's lotus feet. And really, as devotees, that is our greatest consolation. So I wanted to offer my Koti Koti Dandavats to such an exemplary devotee of Krishna. And, Krishna says that in the Bhagavatam, it said that Krishna is death in the form of time. We experience that time factor every day. Living beings are created to the agency of the Father and then killed to the agency of death. Harim vina mritim taranti, Bhagavatam says. One cannot conquer death without taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here we have an exemplary devotee who has given us a practical example. He was a role model. And, through his example, when our turn comes, we're able to also follow in those footsteps and return to Krishna's lotus feet. So I want to offer my prostrated obeisances to this exemplary Vaishnava, and also offer his family, if I could be of any service, I'll consider it a privilege. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Govardhan Prabhu. The fact that so many of the senior devotees in our movement, in terms of our seniority spiritually, as well as their responsibilities in ISKCON, have joined this forum today to express their condolences and their messages and their appreciation. It's actually a testimony to Radha Giridhari Prabhu's impact and the loss that we'll feel by his passing, and the inspiration that he's given all of us. There are 2 items. Is there anybody who else would like to speak? Because we have 2 items left. Okay, so it's 5 to 5, and we'll ask you to please stay for those last 2 items in this memorial service. Before we go, we'd like to thank all of you for participating and lending your support over the last as many years as you know Radha Giridhari, and to the family. We want to thank the family for actually giving Radha Giridhari to the movement, to allowing him to participate in all his services. And as Chantel said, they're coming to realize just how much and how valuable and how important, how significant he is within the Krishna conscious movement at this stage. So we'd like to thank the family also for allowing this and appreciating his services. I want to thank Priya Kishori, and we want to thank Priya Kishori and her team for organizing the Zoom platform. I think it's Surabhi, Krishnangi, and Priya Kishori are involved in the back room of this. Thank you so much for facilitating all of this. If I've left out anybody, please forgive me. I don't know who is fully in the team today. And let's now play a video that's been Salona. She has a video that she wants to play. Salona, ready.
So, we are in a crisis situation in this world with this newly disease called coronavirus. So, it has been reported that there is a third case in South Africa. And many years ago, Srila Prabhupada was in Calcutta, and there was a plague that also hit across India. And Prabhupada, he would gather all the devotees, and he said that the solution to the problem is to chant the glories of the holy name. Thank you for sharing this association. The most important thing is this is, by the way, birthday. Actually, birthday is like a reminder for us, reminder to me also that the day is getting closer.
Is that the end of that, Salona?
Yes, Prabhu, it's the end.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. Very wonderfully put together and important message from Radha Giridhari Prabhu, which also showed his own courage in engaging in the Sankirtan mission. So I said there were going to be 2 items, but we were going to end with Kirtan, but I didn't realize the Kirtan was also part of the video. So there's no need for that now because Radha Giridhari Prabhu sang so proficiently, and it'll leave us with a wonderful memory of hearing his voice and his Kirtan. So we want to thank all the devotees for your keen participation here today. And we want you to carry the legacy of Radha Giridhari Prabhu. And hopefully then when we all get together again, and we can honor, there's so many devotees have left us during this period, so we can honor the devotees. I was actually telling Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu that we should have a heroes wall at the temple, and their name should be there. So at least let us keep these heroes of Krishna consciousness in our hearts and minds and follow their examples. Thanks to all the devotees. We will ask you now to please, we can switch off, we can leave the forum, and let's just stay in touch with all the other platforms, okay? There are so many lectures going on. Please join. Thank you. Hare Krishna. All glories to Radha Giridhari Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.